Hey guys, so I got my Melt Cosmetics Muerte eyeshadow palette yesterday. This is the first time I've ever tried Melt Cosmetics, and it's not that I wasn't interested in this brand. I've had them on my radar for a very long time, but this was $58. That's a lot of money for one eyeshadow palette. Yeah, I just should not be spending that much money on one item, but this was like my Christmas present to myself. and so I went for it. And as you can see, the packaging is stunning. The criteria that I use now for not all, but most of the things I buy, I want the packaging to be like a work of art like this. And I want the quality of the product to be good as well, obviously. But packaging is important, I feel, you know? So, oh, and there's what the back of it looks like. Yeah, how pretty is that? So, I bought this on Sephora's website because my local Sephora does not carry Melt Cosmetics. So I was going to have to either drive fairly far um, or order online. Now, I've never ordered from Sephora online before. So I thought, well, maybe that would be easier than having to, drive into the big city where I mean, I live in a city, but my city is very small, so I would have had to drive to a bigger city to get to a Sephora that was big enough that it would have Melt Cosmetics in it. And I said, I'm gonna just order it online. I've been placing so many orders lately online, and it's just easier, or so I thought. Well, I'm not going to give you this long, dragged out story, but to summarize the whole thing quickly, if you are new to my channel or fairly new, you may not know, I have two addresses. I have my mailing address and my physical address. So all the orders that I've placed in the last year, I always give my mailing address to companies that I'm ordering from, never have any problems. My mailing address is United States Post Office, obviously. And so if the package gets delivered by UPS, which is who Sephora chose to be the carrier of, they can't deliver it because UPS has to deliver to your house. So, yeah. So I had to make 20 billion phone calls and emails, and what I ended up having to do was, which is very hard to do, and they'll tell you right when you call UPS, they'll tell you that they cannot do this, but it's not true. If you're persistent enough, you can do it. I had the package transferred off the truck, the delivery truck, and had it brought to the closest UPS store to my house, and I picked it up there. So thank you to the nice lady at Sephora and the nice lady at UPS. Those two ladies, if it wasn't for them, I would not have gotten this. It would have gone back to Sephora, and we would have had to start the process all over again. But something that I want to tell you about this that's really important, just in case you're like me and you have two different addresses. When you pick standard shipping, it isn't necessarily going to always be UPS. It's just whatever Sephora feels like choosing at the time. Because I asked the lady at Sephora, I said, oh, so if I pick standard shipping, then I need to give my physical address next time. She said, not necessarily. So there's no guarantee with that. So the only way to know for sure who the carrier is going to be is to choose a higher level of shipping that is not free. Then you'll be able to clearly see who the carrier is going to be. Like if you choose priority shipping, then you know it's United States Post Office. Or I think there's another choice too that's for either Federal Express or UPS or something. Anyway, I've got the package. I guess that's all that matters, but I don't think I would order from their website again next time. I think I'll just drive to a store, although that has its issues too, because whenever I have done that in the past, the website, I'll check the stock, the inventory on the website. It'll say they have something, then I go to the store and they have nothing. So it drives me crazy to have driven very far in questionable conditions and places and end up empty-handed. That's just happened to me too many times. That's why I wanted to try ordering from the website. Anyway, sorry about that long introduction, but it's just very frustrating. So anyways, I've got the palette, and as you can see, I have it on my face, and I have some thoughts about this. Now, I have only used it the one time, but there's what it looks like. And as you can see, it's been used quite a bit considering it's still a brand new palette. That's because yesterday when I got it, I said, ooh, I'm going to take tons of pictures and post them on all my social media, except for the editing program in the device that I was using didn't seem to be wanting to save my edits, because I had to like crop it and flip it and stuff to get the picture to cut. I wanted to cut out as much of the background as possible and just have the pictures be of the product. For whatever reason, the editing program on that wasn't working yesterday, and so I wasn't able to post anything. So no pictures, but there's the color scheme. And thank you so much, Melt Cosmetics, for making a cool toned palette, because they are far and few between. So today I am wearing Angelito is what is on my lids. Lagrimas is what is my transition shade. Duello is what is in the crease and outer corner and dragged along the lower lash line. And Calaca is my brow bone highlight and inner corner highlight. Now, Calaca is a gold. I would much rather that they had gone either a silver or a white, because to me that goes better with these colors, because these are all cool shades. The whole palette is all cool. Even the reds are cool reds. So to me, gold doesn't make sense in this color scheme. Yeah, I would have gone white or silver. But it's not my palette. I didn't design it, so that's up to them. Okay, so never tried Melt Cosmetics before, so first time ever using their formula. Very first thing I noticed is the eyeshadows are packed really hard in the palette, which is not a bad thing, because if they're packed too loosely, you end up with a situation like ABH Subculture. That's why that palette had those problems, because they didn't press the shadows hard enough, and then they just crumbled and broke, and it was a big powdery disaster area. So these are packed really hard so that they're not going to fall apart. And the next thing I noticed about this formula is that it's very dry. And when I did the swatches on my arm, I realized right away, I was like, wow, these are so dry. And that I don't necessarily like, but what matters really when you come down to it is how do they perform when you use them on your eyes? Really, I mean, it doesn't really matter whether they're dry or not. But that scared me when I saw how dry they were, because when I did the swatches on my arm, some of them didn't swatch that well. And that's the next thing that I noticed, is that these don't perform well on bare skin. So if you go to a Sephora and you swatch the tester, when you go to put it on your hand, you're not going to be impressed if you've never tried Melt Cosmetics before and you're not familiar with the formula. And you do a swatch, you're going to be like, dry, patchy, blah, pass. No, don't go by that. Who do you know in this day and age that uses eyeshadows dry on their eyes without putting something down first? Even if you use foundation, when you put your foundation on, some people just put the foundation all over their eye area too. Some people put concealer on their eye area. Most people use an eyeshadow base. You can use a regular sheer eyeshadow base, or you can use a colored base. There are gel liners in pots that come with this collection. Oh, there's a black one, a matte black. There's a dark matte, like emerald green. It's an emerald green, but it's a dark emerald green. There's a mustard yellow gold. Those are all matte. And then there's a shimmery bright blue. Oh, I want those so bad. But they're, they're expensive for eyeliners. And they are not at Sephora in store. If you buy them from Sephora, you have to buy them online. Or you can just buy things from Melt Cosmetics website. But I haven't had a gel eyeliner in a pot for a long time, and I do really like them. Pencils are easier. That's why I use them. But really, there's nothing like a gel eyeliner for staying power, blendability, versatility. They're versatile because you can use gel eyeliners as a colored eyeshadow base. So it's kind of worth the money. But yeah, by the way, the other palette in this collection, the other eyeshadow palette, is called Vita. And it is also beautiful. And it is for people who like warm-toned eyeshadows. So they did a warm tone palette and a cool tone palette. And when you look at the palettes themselves, the other one, the warm one, is the other half of this skull face, except with warm colors. So such a cool concept with this design. And this is their holiday collection. And I love that they didn't do something traditional, because I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but I don't really like Christmas. I know that's not something that most people say, but and there's a variety of reasons for that. But I love the idea that this is not a traditional Christmas theme. Okay. So anyway, yeah, back to what we were talking about. Eyeshadow bases. You've got to use an eyeshadow base with these because they're dry and they are crazy pigmented. So I did a little testing, and I had just recently purchased the AOA Studio eyeshadow base, and I've been enjoying it. I've been using it with pretty much everything that I put eyeshadows over, and it's been great. But I thought, since these are so dry and so pigmented, I mean crazy pigmented, I thought, what if I try a couple different things? So I put a sample of the AOA Studio on my hand and took some of the shadows and like blended with my fingers over it. Then I took this. This is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. And I put this down, and wow, they looked and blended so amazing over this. So I would say if you own a traditional thinner eyeshadow primer and you also own an eyeshadow stick or cream eyeshadow in a pot, you can use something that's a color or something that's a neutral, whatever you want to use. But I really feel like these work a lot better with a thicker base that has got some moisture to it. Not too much moisture, but like a heavier base is what I would recommend personally. So they are very pigmented, like I said. So you may want to put some thought into what brushes you use with these, because you need to take that into consideration. You can't just take any old eyeshadow brush and use it with any old eyeshadow, because it's not going to perform the same way. So take the appropriate eyeshadow brush and dip it in very carefully, because you can always add more, but taking it away is not going to work, and you may have to take all your makeup off and start over again. So don't worry about layering, because these layer beautifully. When I did my look today, I already told you which shadows I used on which part of my eyes, but I went back in at the end and I took Lagrimas, the matte aqua, turquoise, whatever you want to call this. And I just put a little bit more on the edge between the highlight shade and what I had laid down of that color before, because when I put the highlight on at the end, I don't know, for some reason I like to do my highlight shade at the end, it brought the highlight came down a little bit too far. So I wanted to keep that fade, that transition shade between that and the crease shade. So I just added a little bit more. No problem at all. It just eased right in there and blended with the other shades beautifully. So all I've done so far is this turquoise look and this teal shade. So turquoise, teal, and gold. That's, I mean, I just got the palette yesterday, so that's all I've done. But based on what I have experienced so far, I love this. And I never would have thought that, because of them being so dry and so scary when you are doing swatches and stuff. So I'm not even gonna do any swatches, because there's loads of swatches in other people's videos and on makeup blogs, and it doesn't tell you anything. It's not helpful, because they don't swatch good without primer. So I would definitely recommend this. I can't believe it took me so long to try Milk Cosmetics. Well, yes, I can believe it, because this is not in my budget. And now, of course, now that I've tried this and I love it, I really want Vita now. I really want the other one that goes with this collection. And I want those gel eyeliners, but I can't justify the expense of that, because I have a palette coming from Menagerie Cosmetics someday. They still haven't sent me a shipping email. I have 3 items coming from Kaleidos from China. Those are on a plane in transit to the United States right now. And then I placed a big ColourPop order when the site went 30% off, and I bought a bunch of all different kinds of things from ColourPop. So I just can't. I cannot go out and get the Vita palette and those gel eyeliners, but I want them so bad. So do I recommend this? Absolutely. I think it's stunning. It performs beautifully. The packaging is gorgeous. The only thing that I can say is I wish that the gold had been a silver or a white. If that's the only bad thing I can say about this, then that's pretty darn good. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, yada, 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 all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.